Well, hello.
Hello, welcome. Welcome back, maybe.
So today me and Maddie are going to be looking through our AP art portfolio.
So both of us took an AP art class this year. I took AP graphic design and AP drawing and studio art. So I have two portfolios technically, but Sabrina's graphic design Sabrina's graphic design portfolio is probably better than mine. But it's okay because I can paint.
Yay.
So we're going to go through each of our art pieces, show you what we did, why we did it, how we feel about it, all that fun stuff. I want to ask you to subscribe, make sure to leave a comment and like it if you do like it, and let's get started.
So the first piece that I did for this was this one. For this piece, the thought process behind it was the awareness ribbons are a form of fashion and expression to some extent. So for my fine arts succinct investigation, my question was, how does fashion influence society and vice versa? So this one was based around those little awareness ribbons, and down at the bottom where like the three women's eyes are is like a ribbon. Well, it goes across the first woman's mouth and then the second woman's eyes and the third woman's ears. And that ribbon is in the color, the teal color, and that awareness ribbon is sexual assault. So this piece was supposed to be like a awareness piece for sexual assault and how like there's not just one type of person who is affected by this, and it's important to spread that awareness and for society to focus on it. And I think that the fashion of wearing these ribbons is a way that those two areas collide.
Okay, so the first one here we have is, okay, so the reason I made this was because I was in a competition for theater that I had to make like a poster based off of specific shows that they gave us. So I made this one. It's from like a play, it's an off-Broadway play that is about Dungeons and Dragons, but that's the reason I made this. It wasn't necessarily like something that I was like, oh, let me just do a warrior and a dragon. This one, I like it a lot. I made it a fake location. What I really didn't like about this one was I wish I had more time to do the background, because I spent a heck of a long time doing like the dragon and the girl, and I really like how the girl turns out, but the outline doesn't match. It like doesn't look the same as the dragon. You win some, you lose some. You have a deadline, you gotta make it. I won Best in Show with this, which is freaking cool, but I don't know. I just ran out of time and then I didn't end up fixing it afterwards because I felt like it was good. What I really liked in this also was the title. The title, I used the like eraser tool and I changed the brush to like a big blotchy brush, and then I made the text and I did the background, then I combined them and then I blotched them out so that they looked like rough and stuff like that. My teacher is really focused on text, so that's something that we did like a lot of. That's the idea behind this one. I would say this is probably one of my favorites that I did.
The next one I did, this piece. So this piece is honestly one of my favorites, I think. So it originated as just like a sketch of a girl because I just thought she was really pretty. But then I started reading this article about like how when slaves came, like were taken from their native countries and like brought to America and stuff like that, like they would a lot of times keep a piece of fabric from that was special to them from like where they came from and use it as a head wrap. I thought that was so cool how like they didn't let like their identity be completely lost, even though they were ripped from the country that they grew up in, and their nationality and their culture and everything about them was taken away, but they still had that like little piece of cultural identity. So I put her in black and white to represent like how she'd been stripped of who she was, but then the head wrap is in color to show like holding on to a piece of who she was. And then I put her on a collage background of fabrics. I thought that like putting them in the background could represent the cultural background that she was taken away from, and also just I think it looks cool.
So the second one here is well, this is a sewing machine, if you can't tell. And all I did to this one was I took the photo and then I brightened like all the aspects that I wanted to be really like bright and noticeable. And I just dodged all of them. Like I dodged the pink line on it. And then I used a filter. I used 2 filters and I don't remember what they were. But I just took the brightened photo, I put 2 filters on it, and then I slanted one of the filters, the one that you see with the white line. I just moved it slightly off of like where it should be to make it a traced outline. And my teacher really likes this one. My whole concentration was supposed to be about theater. So this was theater. I made this in Photoshop. I made that one in Photoshop.
So I was kind of running out of time when I did this, and I was like really on a deadline, so I tried to do like a small piece, but I actually really like how it turned out. So it's this one. So for this one, it's commenting on just like the masks, not necessarily of any specific tribe. The articles that I was reading was having to do with like Native Americans, like in the area that I have grown up in. And they have this like rich tradition of making masks to memorialize their ancestors. And these masks hang in their houses to protect them. And I wanted to show like a sense of community. So I put a large group like around a fire just dancing and like having a good time, and it looks very like rejoicing. And then the masks are over top like watching over them.
Okay, so the third one here, I saw this photo of this girl who was like in the middle of the street, I think, and then it looked like a TV that was like, that looked like static, so I wanted to make something like that. So I took this photo. I didn't do anything special with the photo, I don't think. I think I just brightened it because I like photos that are brighter. And then I made the background first and the lines. And then this was an effect that you could do to make the colors look this way. But then I just selected certain parts of the photo in Photoshop, and then I made some of them black and white and then added a second layer of this effect. And then I just moved them from their location by copy and pasting it and then moving it like to whichever place it was in the photo. All these I got to pick the order, so that's why I put them like this. So I put them like how I like them most. So when we start getting to the lower ones are the ones that it was the end of the school year. I'm running out of time. Let's crank them out, baby. All these photos, by the way, I took with like my iPhone. And I would have loved to be able to like go places and take pictures, but I was so freaking busy during the school year that I would end up just like being at school, knowing I had graphic design next period, going into my theater teacher's classroom and just taking pictures of what I thought I could make look cool. So none of these were taken on like my nice like Canon camera.
So this piece didn't come out exactly the way I wanted it to, but I still like the concept and like how it turned out. So basically what I was going for, she just looks like she's the girl in the mirror looks distorted, and like I was going for distorted, but I don't know, to me it looks like it not the distorted that I wanted, and it just looks like I messed up, but like I've been told that it still looks good. I don't know. But so basically the idea was that through the fashion industry and society's pressure on women to be perfect, sometimes the materialism of the industry will make it seem like your appearance is everything. And I wanted to show that like you are not just how you look. You know, there's so much more to who you are as a person than your appearance. So that's why I did the mirror in grayscale and then everything else in like vibrant colors, because I wanted to show that who you are as a whole person is so much more than the flat grayscale distorted image that you see when you look in the mirror. Cheesy, maybe a little bit.
This one is split up into 4 sections for a specific reason, because this year for the AP Art Portfolio, they said that we needed to have steps. So the way that my teacher thought we could do this was by putting like different steps of the process of how we made it. So that's why like the first picture down here has nothing on it, and the second picture is just brightened. The third picture is when I was trying to put type in there, which I ended up hating, so I didn't take it. Okay, this is just a photo of my script with some Crayola highlighters. I think what I did here, there was for sure more of a background, but I erased the background here. I just added more desk because there was something else there. I cropped it in so that it wasn't like tension in the corner, so I cropped it into where the highlighter was. And I think I put 2 filters on this also because I feel like that's just an easy way to make any photo look more interesting. I put 2 photos on this, and I also just moved it around. If you haven't tried like putting a filter on something, especially if you put 2 filters, because with some of them you can tell, like, okay, you moved the filter. With some of them, if you add 2 especially, if you move the filter like anywhere on it, they usually blend in pretty well. And if it doesn't, you can just change the opacity. But I just moved these until the colors look cool, is basically what I did. Because these pages were highlighted, by the way. Wherever you see them highlighted is a shift on wherever I highlighted them in real life.
This was my first ever oil painting, so be nice. So it's this piece. And if you can see, there's a mirror, but there's a mirror behind her, like the slashes in the canvas, and this is actually like the canvas is ripped. Like I've ripped the canvas. It's not like painted like that. The idea behind this one is similar to the idea behind the last one, about how like sometimes all we can see is our reflection and not who we fully are as a person. This one and the other one I used for my college applications for RISD. The word was reflection, so I did like self-reflection and then like physical reflection, because this one is more like your inner reflection about how everything is coming at you at once and you're tearing yourself apart because you're not perfect in your eyes. I don't know if that makes sense. Anyway.
Okay, this is one that I did of Maddie, and this one is kind of funny because I painted in Photoshop like this entire thing, and I showed it to my teacher, and he was like, this looks like you could have done it with a filter and it would look much better with a filter. So I was like, whatever. So I did it with a filter. This is a filter. What is on Maddie is a filter, but I did a lot of painting like in here. So I took this photo of Maddie, I cut her out of it, and then I did a filter, which I don't remember what it is. And then I painted, like under her eye I painted, the nails, and like most of the hand, because the hand looked really strange when I did it. And then some of the book, because I really wanted you to be able to see the Hello Dolly, which is what she was reading, that script. And then the background, well, the background, to not have the attention like taken away from the model, or like Maddie in this case, I did like abstract blobs of color that went with the outfit too, but I want to make sure nothing had the same color as the purple that she was wearing. I also really like this one. There are some that are not my favorite, which we'll see here, but this one I do like a lot. That one I made in Photoshop too. You know, the more I did this, like last year I thought Illustrator was my favorite, but you can do a lot more with a lot of things in Photoshop.
So this one is a little less like meaningful. It just kind of looks cool, I think. So that's that one. So this one, I just want to get up close so you can see the stippling. So for her face, all the details on her face and her hand and in her hair, I did with like a small tipped pen, and like stippling is just like when you do the dots, like a bunch of tiny dots. If you can't tell, that's Marilyn Monroe. And I wanted to do it in a very pop art style because I wanted to talk about how, because Marilyn Monroe is iconic in fashion, and the pop art style was very relevant during the time when Marilyn Monroe was relevant. So I wanted to talk about how like fashion and art revolve around each other and evolve because of each other and influence you. I don't know. I just get excited about that kind of thing. But yeah, so I just wanted to show like a more positive side of society and fashion and how they can inspire each other and create incredible people and things and inspire movements and that kind of thing. So
this one, I would call this decent. what I would call it in my description of this piece, minimalistic. This I had tried to do a different way. I tried to take a picture and then I wanted to paint it myself so it would look like watercolor. Did that, hated it. I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna do solid figure like cellos. Lovely. I did that, and then what I do like about this a lot is the color palette. It's very soothing, and that's what my teacher liked a lot about it too. Not entirely sure about the shadows in the back. In my mind it looks cool, so that's what I did. That's what I did for a lot of these. In my mind, this looks cool. Would I give this best of show? No. Would I do it again? Yeah. Would you buy it? Of course.
And the next one I did was this one, which is Dylan's favorite piece. And this is of Grant. And so what I did was I took the reference picture of Grant and I broke it up into like where the shadows were. And then I started with the darkest value and slowly worked up to the lightest value. And originally I was gonna do like a cartoon tear like coming down his face in color, but I think that it would have ruined the like stoicness of the piece, so I just left it in black and white, and I really like how this one turned out. Basically, the idea behind this one was how society has told men that they can't show emotion or cry, like be a man means to hold everything inside and not let anyone see emotion because emotion is weakness. And you know, that's not true at all, and showing your emotions is, and being vulnerable is being strong. And anyway, but so I just wanted to comment because like how that's so black and white, and humans are not like that. There's no way that someone can healthily hold everything inside and not show their emotions and not feel emotions because they're a man, you know? Cry if you have to. I do it all the time.
This is a picture of me when I was Dolly in Hello Dolly. This is not a picture I took because I was doing the show, but this is one of like the cast pictures. And this is also, again, because the reason it's in 3 is because we had to show progression. So I put the top with nothing, and then the middle with some, and then the bottom with none. Okay, so the final product one, I took out like most of the cast that was on the side. I just made like them in black, and to do that, just like put the brush really light and then slowly start to put that, and make sure it has like a fluffy brush kind of. If you're in Photoshop, you know what I mean. And then I just started blackening the outside. Or you can also do the darkening, like the dodge, right? Yeah. The burn, you know. And I did that like around the edges, I think. And then I didn't change the colors a lot, as you can see. But what I did do was I took this photo and then I took a copy of that photo. And on the second layer, I like took the square brush and I erased like parts of this. And then I put the photo that was underneath in black and white so that it would look like this. So that's how I got it to do that. And my like explanation for this was like I wanted to resemble the history of theater. That was my reason for that. But I just thought the picture was pretty sick, man.
So the next one I did was this one. So this one was more an assignment than anything else. The assignment was to do a gestural piece, and I struggled with that a little bit. I was struggling. So I did like a lot of practice, and like I filled up like a whole bunch of pages in my sketchbook just doing different like gesture pieces in like pen and pencil, and this one's in chalk, that one's in Sharpie. By the time I like got to a point where I had some that like I liked and I felt like confident enough to try and like come up with a piece idea, I had like 1 day left before I had to turn it in. So I took out my favorites of the gestural like practices that I had done, and I kind of just like arranged them. There's not really like a deeper meaning behind this one. I just stuck them together and then put it on a board and cut the board to the size of the thing. I don't know, I think it looks kind of cool.
This is one one that I have zero idea, like, why. But I do like it. It's not that I don't like it, but I don't know why I did that. Here's what I did with this. This was a photo I took at rehearsal. So, like, the bottom is the original photo, and this is when I take them out or whatever. Zero idea what filter I put on it. But this was kind of hard to do. An easier way to do this would have been cutting them out and placing it on top of the photo. That's not what I did. I don't remember what I did, but it took me a while. So you could cut them out and then put them on top of the same photo. I zoomed in and I made the rest of it black. But what I did I didn't put a filter on this. I selected like random things on like the stairs, and then I just filled that in with color that I thought looked better than what it was. And then I made the background just a darker black by just using the paintbrush on the background. But I think this looks kind of sick. I think this looks cool. My teacher was like, I like it. So, heck yeah.
And then the last one that I did for my sustained investigation was this one. So this one's done completely in marker, and I did it in 2 days because we were leaving for spring break, and I wanted to turn it, I could have turned it in later, like pictures, but I wanted to like physically give it to him, and I'm glad I did because we didn't go back to school. I think that this one could have come out better if I had taken longer on it and like taken my time on it, but it kind of has like an unfinished markery look, and I think I like that. I think I've accepted that that's what it looks like, and it's good. So this piece was supposed to be about how the fashion industry for a long time has been so uninclusive, and like the modeling industry is very cookie cutter model, and not only just cookie cutter model, but not very diverse either. And recently there's been more of a movement to not only diversify, but also include like different body types. And I just think that's really, really great, because if you don't look like that, you don't have representation as the like standard of beauty, you know? Not only is it important, but like if you're looking at clothes, trying to decide like if that form of art is something you want to buy or something you need to be inspired by, you know? I think that everybody should be able to participate in that. It's not something that's just for someone who's 6'2" and stick thin, you know? But this is like a runway model that's like a curvy runway model, and I just think she's gorgeous, and I wanted to draw her, so I did. The background is supposed to be like water droplets, because it's like with one change causes the ripple effect for other people to see this is what we need to be doing. And in this day and age, like, we need to be moving forward, you know? But yeah.
This was, we were running out of time, kind of, assignment, because it was reaching the end of the week. I needed to turn something in. So I did this, like, one-line piano guide that I saw a picture very similar online, so I made my own, and I did the same style. And then I did that for a few other instruments, and then I just put, like, simplistic lines in the back. I like the idea of this. I do like single line art, like, a lot. So I wanted to do something like that for a while, but I couldn't get out of my head to how not to make it look like I'm just being lazy. So this is what we ended up with. I like the colors in this. I think the execution could have been a tad bit better, but que sera, sera.
So this one's a little rough. The picture of it will probably be better than this because that was it in its prime. But somewhere in the middle of all those, I did this one. So it's a cardboard box, basically, that I made. And then I added these, like, detailings that were supposed to, like, look like TV dials and, like, buttons. This fell off. Like the speaker type situation. And so this piece is about sustainability and fast fashion, which I could talk about for literally hours. Basically, the rundown is that fast fashion brands prioritize quantity over quality, and in doing that, not only are they overusing our natural resources and unrenewable resources, but they're also, it's causing a lot of harm environmentally. Over 3 billion tons of clothing is deposited in landfills every year just in America. I'm very passionate about that, and I someday want to create a brand of sustainable fashion that is available to people in the middle to lower classes, because I think that that's the only way that there's ever going to be any change, because if the sustainable and lower classes can only afford to buy fast fashion, then that's the majority of society buying fast fashion. It's also not reasonable to think that somebody who's working 2 jobs can pay for a $300 to $500 dress. Anyway, that's that.
And the last one, because this year we only had to turn in 10 because of the quarantine and being sent home from school. So for the last one, this is, I don't like it. I don't like this one, but I don't have Photoshop and Illustrator, and I know I can download open sources, but it's different. It doesn't look as good. So I already had this. I put it in. This is supposed to be the Chinese theater, like the one in California, and that's about it. I just wanted to do like a cool, really like, this is graphic design kind of poster for it. It's almost like a tourism poster, but for tourism poster I would add like letters and say, oh, na, 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 on it. I had tried so many things to make this look good. I tried changing the colors, I tried like changing the shadows, moving the background, adding like less detail, adding a lot more detail. This is where I landed. I like it. It's decent. Definitely very like Charlie Harper, very like simple. That was my idea going into it, but I don't know for sure how that ended up.
Hello, editing Sabrina here. So I stopped after 10 pieces because that's all we had to turn in for our portfolio this year. Maddie went on, gave some extra, gave some that she put in her college portfolio and all that fun stuff. So we're gonna have more Maddie. Woohoo! More Maddie! Yeah!
So this piece is probably one of my favorite pieces that I've ever done, if not my favorite piece that I've ever done. So this piece is about body dysmorphia, and if you don't know what body dysmorphia is, it's a mental illness where when you look in the mirror, you see a flaw that you think is the worst thing, is not a big deal to anyone who's looking at you, but when you look at yourself in the mirror, all you can see is that one flaw and you just harp on it and it becomes so dysmorphed. But so I wanted to talk about how the fashion industry can lead to mental illnesses like this, and how if we don't change things and become more inclusive, and with the body positive movement that's been happening a lot lately and that kind of thing, it's hard to see yourself in real life and compare it to that perfect edited version of everyone else that you see online or in a magazine or on TV, you know. Anyway, you all know about that. But basically, so what I did for this piece was I sketched out the design that I wanted of the girl in the mirror, and then I took a saw, and this was scary because I'm not a builder or a cutter of things besides paper. And then I painted it with acrylic paint, and then I took a separate piece of wood and I collaged the brands of a bunch of different fashion brands, as well as fashion articles about like how to lose 10 pounds in 2 days, or, you know, blast that fat, or like just like the unhealthy flash diet articles, and I collaged those with a bunch of different fashion brands. Then I put glass over that collage, and I painted 2 red stripes to match with like the floor of the girl, and I took a hammer and I shattered the glass and then put the girl on top of the glass. The final piece that I did for my sustained investigation is this one, and I did that in my Come Paint With Me video. So if you want to watch that, come visit our channel. One is supposed to talk about how fashion evolves and changes as society evolves and changes. So with the whole mask things being a necessity, like it's become a fashion statement. And it's also about how like just because your normal has changed doesn't mean that you can't find beauty in your new normal. I also have some pieces that I wanted to show that aren't in my sustained investigation, but I put them into my college portfolios. So there's this one. This piece is of Slovenia, and it's my favorite place that I've probably ever visited, and it's in Lake Blood, Slovenia, and it's just beautiful. This piece is of a girl, and then there's the silhouette of the man that she's lost, and she's remembering him like in nature. Piece is of Grant with a Reese's cup in front of his face. It was the first video that Sabrina and I ever did. This piece is just like a still life that I did of pumpkins. This piece is like this is the first piece I did this year, and it's just like a colored pencil still life. I put that one on a lot of my college portfolios because I also made copies of it, and I cut it up and then laced it back together with black ribbon, and you'll see it there, but I don't know, I just liked it, I liked how it looked. This one I did last year. It's just a picture of my friend Allie with a rose in front of her face. This one is a self-portrait. We had to do a self-portrait, and I didn't want to just do a picture of me like, so this is me. And then this one does have meaning, but it's not like within my sustained investigation. I did it for a competition, and I'll put a better picture of it obviously, but there's that. It's very large. It's like a 3 wood panels, and the first panel is a little boy, and he has this green rocket, and he's like sitting on a train, and he's looking out at the window like at a night sky, but it's like he's in space. The next panel is the same boy, but he's grown up and he has a daughter. He's wearing a NASA jacket, and there's the spaceship about to like leave, and he's holding his daughter, and she's holding the same green rocket that he's holding in the first panel. And then in the third panel, she's a little older, and she's watching like a man on the moon. The rocket is sitting on the top of the TV, and then out the window is the same night sky that her dad was looking at in the first one. And the like title of this that I gave it was Legacies, because I wanted to talk about how like the passion that someone has and like shows when you're younger can like be passed down because like they're so passionate about it, and it like inspires you and all that stuff.
Okay, thank you for watching. If you like it, make sure to subscribe, comment.
Please come back next week. We're here every Wednesday. We would love to have you back.
Adios.
Bye.